Hello, everybody. My name is Stephanie Smith, and I did my service year at the Forest Service Placerville Nursery, not too far from here in Camino. It was a wonderful experience. I learned so much, and because we're growing little trees, as the seasons go on, the tasks change, which is really fun and cool. So I got to learn a lot of stuff just in this 11-month period. So starting in the winter time, so right off the bat was lift and pack season for 3 months in the snow and cold. We were packing trees to be sent off to the national forests, about 1-year-old trees. And then moving into the spring, we did sowing. So we were sowing the seeds and placing them in their areas, both in the container program and the bare root program. And throughout these 2 seasons, I got to help a lot with some leadership participation with the contractors, which was really great leadership experience. And also knowing how contracts work too, which is amazing because it's like they work really hard, really fast. So it's like really cool experience to learn how to keep up with that and make sure everything goes smoothly. And then moving into the summertime, I helped with fertigation, which is irrigation and fertilizing the seedlings, which is something I've never done before, working with fertilizer. So I learned a lot about the science behind that. And then moving towards the end of summer into cone season, I work with the Reforestation Pipeline Partnership through American Forests, so I'm a Cone Corps member. And there's 2 legs to it. So there's a Reforestation Pipeline Cooperative, which they have quarterly meetings, and they do really great work coming up with to reduce any pipeline conflict to getting California reforested faster. And then I'm a part of so I was going out looking at the cones, identifying which stands of trees were worthwhile collecting from through sampling and revisiting those sites. And I did a collection just this Tuesday on a site I was visiting. So that was a full circle moment, which was very rewarding. And then also throughout the term, I had a lot of fun going to the events and the different workshops that were available. So I just felt like there were so many opportunities to grow and to cultivate skills and knowledge. And I really want to give a shout out to the North Fork Mona Tribe Cultural Burn. It was a very profound experience for me, very impactful, and I will definitely take that into the future with me. And then as for my next steps, I do plan on applying for a program called Earthship Biotecture in Taos, New Mexico. So hopefully I can accept it and go in the spring. And I want to move into sustainable infrastructure in my career moving forward. So this was amazing. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Next we have Allie.
Hi, everybody. I'm Allie, and I am the Vegetation Monitoring Field Assistant at Inyo County Water Department. Kind of got a little messed up. I did a very rough background of the history to kind of understand the projects that I'm working on. So water diversions started, they started building the LA Aqueduct in 1905 and then finished in 1913, which kind of led into the long-term water agreement because locals were finding that the riparian vegetation was declining. And then also another governing document, the Green Book. So those two kind of help guide one of the projects that I'm working on, which is the Lower Owens River Project and the Type D Vegetation Project. And I'm going to kind of focus on the Type D Vegetation Project. So that is a monitoring program that is more specified because the long-term water agreement mentioned Type D vegetation, but didn't necessarily include what to do or how to monitor. So the the policy guided the Type D vegetation program. So when we get to a site, we kind of assess the site, where is the water coming in at a location, or we'll run it perpendicular And then we'll set up the transect. It could be up to 10 to 100 meters long, and then we'll record data with fluvial surfaces, soil samples where the trees are, um, aspect, um, and line point, 3 point line point where we'll look at the ground, vegetation, and then up if we hit the trees. And you'll kind of see we make some logs to cross the river sometimes. We get real creative. And then I have some of my favorite plants that we see, the yerba mansa and the alkali mallow, and then the willow herb. And then I work a lot with trees too and the health of the trees. So if the tree's healthy enough, we'll core the tree to understand the age structure, the class, how big the leaves are, the density of the canopy. Yeah, and so it's a long-term project that I'm really excited to keep up on.
Next we have Theo.
Hi, everybody. My name is Theo Bocher. I served 1 year term with the Tuolumne River Trust. It has been a remarkable, life-changing experience, and I've got a few highlights here. One of the things that the River Trust has been focused on in the last year or so has been meadow restoration projects. Grazing out in the Stanislaus Forest has had some cost to the overall meadows. The goal has been to try and reconnect the streams to the surrounding floodplains. So a lot of my work has been not just supporting the day-to-day activity of particular restoration, flat, but also helping to build out that internal capacity of TRT to continue to do this work on many meadows out in Stanislaus. Some other work has been Cyril. Cyril is the Social and Ecological Resilience Across the Landscape Act, which I can remember. But anyway, some years ago, the rim fire came through and devastated much of the Stanislaus National Forest. Since then, a lot of stakeholders, ranging from local to federal, have been working together to try and minimize the overall risk of wildfires. A lot of this hinges on reducing the fuel loads within the forest and surrounding the local communities. TRT has been playing kind of a central role, mostly in a quality control capacity, which is kind of where my involvement has been, acting between agencies and any federal or contractors actually doing work, but masticators and remove the vegetation. Lastly, a few months ago, we broke ground on a salmon habitat restoration project in the town of LaGrange with the goal of restoring some of the river that had been, Tuolumne River that had been impacted by mining activity out there. I was tasked with overseeing the turbidity monitoring for the project. That included acquiring and installing some remote sensing turbidity meters, and then sort of middleman between contractors and water monitoring officials that are out there. Overall, this has been, like I said, a remarkable term. Very grateful about it. Next steps, I'm open to stick within ecology or conservation, using my engineering background and see where that takes me. So, thank you.
Give me 1 second. Okay, and Sarah. And we have Sarah.
Hi everyone, my name's Sarah. This year I got to serve at the UC Davis Tahoe Environmental Research Center, or TURC for short. And so today I just want to share with you some of my roles that I had as one of the education program associates there. So one of my bigger roles was being docent coordinator, and our docents are volunteers who come in and give tours of the Science Center, so we don't always have to give the tours, which is really nice. And I got to meet a lot of amazing people from different backgrounds and who have different ideas of how to give environmental education tours. And I was helping them manage their schedules and things like that, and helping them learn how to actually give a tour of the Science Center. And I also did a lot of field trips, which was really fun. I listed some of my favorites up there, including uh, the trees of Tahoe. It's really fun. On stream monitoring, we actually got to go outside and like show the kids how to take uh, stream samples and things like that. And another big part of my role at Turk was going to special events and doing outreach and things like that. So you'd have a table and we can talk to the community of Lake Tahoe about different things, including citizen science, which was another thing that I helped out with. Interested, scan that code. You can talk to me about like the different surveys on there later. I also did helped with a lot of visitor tracking. We actually got over 11,000 people came to the Science Center for field trips or tours or any of our special events. We were like counting them. So I got to that too. And I hope in the future that I get a job in the conservation. Thank you.
Next, we have Reed.
Hi, everybody. My name is Reed. My year of service was spent at the South Yuba River Citizens League. I served as a restoration coordinator. I'm so grateful for Circle in this year. For me, in a nutshell, this year was really an understanding of what restoration is and how it can be applied to the landscape. This understanding really came about by like getting out on the land and getting my hands dirty. Came about by collecting lots of data, planting oak trees with summer. It came about by getting out on the streams and looking for amphibians, laying transects down and identifying flowers and the plants and the trees. It came about by getting out on the meadows and really seeing how the water moves through them. It came about by fishing for salmonids. It really came about by understanding how a healthy watershed is really important to our environment and ultimately our communities. A major project that took a lot of my focus was the Rose Bar project. In 2023, Circle laid the groundwork for this project to come to fruition. And in 2024, my term, this project finally came about. In this past 6 weeks, it was finally completed and we pushed 40,000 tons of gravel into the lower Yuba, specific part of the Yuba that was very engineered and crafted for this project. But it created riffles for salmonid rearing habitat. And I hope this project, and we hope this project, allows salmon to keep swimming in our rivers for generations to come. Yeah, I'm just so happy to be a part of this community, and I really hope that I can place myself in such a special community and team in the future. So, thank you.
Next, we have Penelope.
Hi everyone, I'm Penelope, and this year I served as an Education Programs Associate at the UC Davis Tahoe Environmental Research Center with Sarah and Logan. So Turk is dedicated to research, education, and stewardship, primarily of Lake Tahoe, but also ecosystems around the world. One of my main responsibilities on their education team was marketing and social media. You can see on my little infographic that I created 52 social media posts for Turk's Instagram and Facebook. The total reach of almost 300,000 people. 15 of those were Instagram reels or short informational videos. Some of my personal favorites, I did one about kind of like plastic recycling and busting the myth that most plastic gets recycled. I also did one introducing people to Tahoe's 4 native zoophyte species and one about Lake Tahoe profiling, which is one of Turk's main long-term monitoring projects. Another one of my roles was special events coordination. So I coordinated our monthly science lecture series, and we had some really amazing speakers, including renowned climate scientist Catherine Cahill. I also helped coordinate our Science Expo, which is a 2-day science fair for local elementary students. We had over 400 third through fifth graders come and participate in over 30 hands-on science activities, which was super fun. And then I also helped with general education and outreach activities, so like science center tours, green building tours. There's one day that I gave 6 green building tours in a row, kind of crazy but fun, and field trips as well. And then finally I did writing and editing, so kind of the main part of that was compiling articles for Turk's biannual newsletter, which basically summarizes like all the work that I've done over the past 6 months. And then I just wanted to point out the photos that I chose. So on the left is giving a field trip to a group of homeschool students who actually came and saw us a few times throughout the year. So it was awesome getting to know them. That's me dressed as the Take Care Tahoe Bear. That was kind of one of the funnest things I did this year. And that was at South Lake Earth Day. The next one is me, Sarah, and Logan doing a beach cleanup and some citizen science for Cesar Chavez Day of Service. And then it's kind of hard to see, but on the right is the three of us playing pickleball with Mary Lynn, who's one of our Science Center volunteers. And I just like that photo because I feel like it illustrates the amazing community that we got to find in that church. And yeah, I've had an amazing year. I feel like I've learned a lot and met some really amazing people. And I'm excited to bring those skills and those connections into the next chapter.
Next we have MK.
Hi, I'm MK Penalar. I served with the Sierra Club Tahoe Area Group, or TAG for short, and Sierra Nevada Alliance. I was the Education and Outreach Assistant. With TAG, I was able to hold and coordinate monthly educational events given to the community, specifically Lake Tahoe, with interesting topics from urbanized black bears to having a Washoe tribal member talk about Washoe history and culture. At those events, we were able to gain 319 attendees in the community, and we were able to retain at least 6 members who were new from when I met them onto our next event, hopefully later this month. And I was also helping coordinate and lead our tables at multiple tabling events, and we were able to connect with 334 community members and explaining to them what TAG was all about and inviting them to join us with our new plastics campaign, to just joining and volunteering to with any of our events. I also led and coordinated multiple cleanups by recruiting volunteers and maintaining the data for both TAG and the Sierra Nevada Alliance. So hopefully you'll be able to attend the Great Sierra River cleanup in September at the end of this month. And I established partnerships with the community college, the Sierra State Parks Foundation, and the Washoe Tribe for TAG. And I also was the main media outreach person for TAG, so updated their social medias frequently, updated their websites with more relevant information and more blog posts, and maintained a quarterly newsletter. And I'm kind of hoping to stay more in conservation education field later, so
Here, next we have Maggie.
Okay, hi, I'm Maggie, and I'm the COSA Education and Outreach Coordinator for the Bishop Paiute Tribe, where I've served 2 terms. And a project that I was really passionate about and really honored to be a part of was a responsible recreation outreach project. So talking to folks who come to the Bishop area to recreate, whether that's climbing, skiing, mountain biking, hiking, all the things. And introducing them to Paehunadu, or Land of the Flowing Water, which is what the Paiute people refer to their traditional homelands. And I found, like, in my personal experience and just talking to folks, that a lot of folks come to the area and don't know anything about the Bishop Paiute tribe. They don't know about the indigenous history of the land, and they don't know about the current cultural significance of the land to the Bishop Paiute tribe. So I helped kind of coordinate this project, and out of it came a recreation guide. So I worked with Bishop Paiute tribal staff to create a digital guide that we could distribute to recreators that just talks about some of the cultural history on the landscape, talks about how to identify cultural sites such as old dwelling sites, petroglyphs, pictographs, and even things like plants, right? Like plants and animals are also cultural resources. They have immense cultural significance to indigenous people. And just kind of that guide talks about that, presents that to recreators, and asks them to keep that in mind when they're recreating. We took this guide to 2 climbing festivals in Bishop. They're 2 really big festivals, the Highball Craggy Classic and Flash Foxy, and talked face-to-face with climbers, shared the guide with them, and honestly introduced a lot of them to the fact that there was a tribe in the Bishop area. I would say almost 50% of people would say that they've never heard of the Bishop Paiute tribe, didn't know there was a tribe in the area. And so we got to do a lot of explaining of what a tribal government is, what it means to work for an environmental management office at a tribe,
and what they should be looking for on the landscape in terms of cultural resources to protect and not damage. Unfortunately, in the past, cultural resources in the Bishop area have been really damaged by recreators, particularly climbers, and that is something that we are hoping to prevent from happening in the future through this project. We also collaborated with the Bishop Climbing Rangers and put on 2 events, Cultural Stewardship Day for Native Youth, where we took them out to a cultural site, talked about the impacts of recreation on the cultural site, and then spread some native seeds to give back to the land. And then we also did an educational stewardship day in the Happy Boulders, which is a really popular climbing area in Bishop. And we took out a group of climbers and had our tribal historic preservation officer, as well as a tribal elder, share with climbers their personal experience on the land and how they thought about the land and the cultural significance that it held for them. And we got a lot of feedback that that was really impactful for climbers to hear directly from Native people why this land is so sacred. And yeah, I just feel really honored to be a part of this project. I feel really honored to be able to share with recreators and people who do care about the land but may not know about all the dimensions of it, about how to better protect it and better protect the cultural resources on the land. And I hope to continue doing that in the future.
Next up, we have Logan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Logan Witt. I served this year at TERC, or the Tahoe Environmental Research Center, as an education programs associate. One of my biggest responsibilities was field trip coordination. So I did everything from communicating with the teachers, making the schedule, just overall making sure the field trips were going very well. So I ended up coordinating about 50 field trips this year, and we taught over 700 students at these field trips. Some things I liked about the field trips was every field trip we had a science center tour, which was usually done by one of our amazing docents. There's lots of amazing exhibits at TERC. And then some of my favorite field trips were stream monitoring, where we would take the students out to the streams and they would do some tests, and we would also sometimes catch some macroinvertebrates, which that is what that picture is with those little containers. They had little bugs in there, they were checking them out. And I also really enjoyed the geology field trips as well. Being on the education and outreach team at TERC, we also tabled at a lot of outreach events. Some of my favorites were like the Earth Day events and the Tahoe Wild Festival. I was also in charge of coordinating the Grow Your Own Festival, which is a high elevation gardening festival where we are educating the community on how to garden in high elevation, also in a sustainable way that is friendly for our watersheds. So we had a lot of partnerships within this festival. We also had availability to purchase high elevation specific plants. There was tours of our historic fish hatchery, which is where our festival was located, and there was a lot of fun activities there as well. Overall, I'm very grateful for my experience at TERC and all of the amazing people that I have met. But for the future, I am wanting to go more into outdoor environmental education and also dealing with wildlife.
Caitlin is actually supposed to be Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. Here we go. I'm Caitlin. I was lucky enough to be an education technician with Sequoia Riverlands Trust this year. I feel like not just my organization, but everyone's organization does so much that it's like, oh my gosh, how do I summarize this in 2 minutes? So I am going to speak about the projects that I'm most proud of and most excited about. So the one that I'm most proud of is called Nature Explorers. I think I've talked briefly about that with you guys. It's a 1st through 3rd after school program partnership that SRT is doing to get the kids outside. They come on either a Tuesday or a Thursday, and they get a little bit of outdoor experience in that way. And there's a partnered classroom session lesson and then a mirroring field session lesson. So we run the field session lessons, and then on campus they do their classroom session. So I spent the bulk of my winter working on that and developing the curriculum for it, kind of like refining it through the year. We did a pilot program in the spring, and that was with only 2 schools, and we only had like 10 students from each school. So it was very chill, and I got to know those students pretty well, which was refreshing because a lot of you know that I see a lot of different faces. Um, but this year, it got picked up, and it's a very big program now. So Visalia Unified School District enjoyed it, and they picked it up for the entire school year with 27 schools. So we're doing a massive rotation of, like, I think it's 4 schools at a time through 9 sessions or something. Anyway, so it's just it's a lot, and it's really exciting. So that's my most proud project. My most exciting project was being able to work on SEED, which is an acronym for the Sequoia Environmental Education Directive, which is it's a collaborative effort between a lot of environmental organizations in the Valley and educators, and it's to honor AB 285 that was passed by the state of California last October that requires school districts to start implementing climate change education to all K-12 kids. So Sequoia Riverlands Trust got a grant that Sneha wrote because she's amazing, and we partnered with them. We did a week-long institute, and we went on a bunch of field trips and showed them our local watershed, and then we worked on developing actual lesson plans that go into a database that all teachers can access, like throughout the state of California, but they're specific to Tulare County. So it's really exciting because nobody's doing that kind of work in the Central Valley, and yeah, so that's that. My photos, that's me at the bottom left. That's my really not good photo that I sent Annika. It was me and my 68-year-old boss. We're like, take a photo. So yeah, and then myself and Elena at one of our preserves cleaning it up. And then you can't really see them, but that's me on some of our field trips last semester with the Nature Explorers program. And that's me with the giant kangaroo rat because we got to go out and do some monitoring out in the Cuzo Plains. So that was really fun. Yeah, I did so much. I feel so grateful, and I feel like I got to see my home through a different lens. So yeah, and moving forward, I would like to stay in environmental education, but I would like to develop more relationships with the students and staff that I work with. So yeah.
Next up, we have Kaylee.
Hi everyone, my name is Kaylee Arbolena, and my host site has been the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency. I'm the Housing Outreach Coordinator for them. So I'm sure many of you guys know, but TRPA is the nation's first by-state regional environmental agency, so they have to deal with partnerships across the basin, across 5 counties and 2 states, which is a lot to balance. And I was working under affordable housing and affordable and workforce housing initiatives that started back in 2021. I began my term working on phase 2 of these housing amendments, which focused on changing the density, coverage system, a little bit of the development standards. And now we're moving into phase 3 of that. So I supported this work alongside all of the planners at TRPA. And I also developed and reviewed a lot of bilingual outreach material. Obviously, we want our information to be accessible to English, Spanish speakers, and all of the community. So I was really trying to engage the segment of this historically underrepresented part of the community in the basin. I was engaging with local stakeholders and community members, attending meetings with local organizations such as the South Lake Tahoe Family Resource Center. I also led a few interesting events, including the 8th grade Heavenly Snowshoe event, where I was leading 8th graders up to Heavenly in this environmental program. I also did TRPA. I co-led TRPA booths at different events, including summit that happened this past month. And I organized and supported all of the outreach events that we've been doing for affordable and workforce housing. A big part of my work also was on curating these e-newses, monthly e-newses. I attended numerous community events, both TRPA and just community events, and I'm leading 2 public workshops, coordinating all the logistics, everything from event planning, from the catering to the facility management to actually the materials that we're going to be using to discuss housing issues. And an interesting thing, I guess you can't see it on the screen, but I made this really nice map for my portfolio, and it's pulling multifamily zoned areas and town center areas in the Tahoe Basin, which are the areas that we're focusing this affordable and workforce housing amendments in. And then a few of the other features. I attended the Amber event, America's Most Beautiful Bike Ride event. And yeah, I feel like I had a very holistic experience. I just transitioned into urban planning, and I think this was a fit for me. Moving forward, I'm going to be doing, I got offered a position with TRPA as an assistant planner, and so I'm going to have a year more with them. And I can't wait to see this work actually come to fruition. Thank you.
We have Emily.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily Griffin and I got to serve at Sierra House Elementary School as the Environmental Education Coordinator. It was the school, or as far as I know, any elementary school's first time having a staff member, so it's really fun to see what having a full-time member can bring to the school. So as you can see in bottom left, sorry, I got turned around, the school has this really amazing gardens and 2 big grow domes. But without a person full time, they weren't being utilized to their full potential. So I was able to come in and help in the gardens, but mostly my most rewarding part of this term was interacting with students and leading lessons. Once we got the ball rolling, I was doing 21 weekly lessons, K through 5, including our 3 special needs classes, which was really special to me to work with those students. And it was extremely rewarding to take the kids outside and give them a different place to learn and see their behavior and learning ability improve outside. Students that had trouble in the classrooms really thrived in the gardens. And I also learned a lot through some research about the social and emotional development that is improved in the gardens. It's easier to build empathy pathways when you're caring for a baby plant instead of just telling a kid to care about another kid. Like, cultivating and growing really helps build some of those pathways. And I also hope that I left a little bit of a sustainable culture in the school in general. So going outside of just the actual lessons, we were doing composting every single day at lunch. I had students, actually Jenny Hatch's daughter, reach out and was wanting to get reusable silverware in our cafeteria instead of plastic, and we have it this year. We actually started using it on Wednesday, so that was so exciting to see metal in the cafeteria instead of plastic. And I had the kids asking just how they could do more. They just wanted more and more and more, and they wanted to bring it home and into the community. And so that's hopefully the ripple I'll be able to leave is you start in the classroom, but it goes far beyond. So I probably missed most of what's on my slide, but that is what really spoke to me, and I don't want to go too far over. I don't know exactly what I'll be doing next. I know I don't want to be a teacher, but I want to teach. I want to do community engagement, outreach, environmental education. So I'll be pursuing something I can just keep working with the community. Thank you.
Christina.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christina Chakansky, and I spent my term serving with Trout Unlimited in Truckee, California. We are the Sierra Nevada office for Trout Unlimited, and I served as the Sierra Nevada field technician. So I spent my summer in Golden Trout Wilderness, Sierra National Forest, Sequoia National Forest, Lassen National Forest, and more, Chucky River. And I was mostly focusing on restoring Sierra Nevada meadows, mostly alpine meadows, through data collection and monitoring in the backcountry, and then taking that data into the office, creating maps and analysis and QA/QCing data. Two of the projects I wanted to talk about are our work in the Golden Trout Wilderness and Pine Creek. The Golden Trout Wilderness is in the southern Sierra, and there are a lot of meadows in that wilderness, and also an endemic golden trout species, photo on the left. And throughout the summer, I worked to build and deploy temperature loggers throughout multiple meadows, also collect eDNA samples of the meadow channel and tributaries. And this project is the largest low-tech process-based restoration project happening right now. And it's going to take probably a decade, but I'm really excited that this type of lower tech, low cost, and low impact type of restoration work in alpine meadows is happening. I'm really excited to be part of it. Additionally, in Pine Creek, which is in Lassen National Forest up north, I was working in Champs and McCoy Meadows on Pine Creek, which ephemerally empties into Eagle Lake. There is an Eagle Lake rainbow trout that lives there. I was visiting bi-weekly some months of the summer to do some wet-dry mapping of Pine Creek, which was really interesting to see how the creek was drying throughout the summer. And then also did a lot of other surveys, including looking at stream condition, looking at the wildlife range, and more. And this is also a restoration project, and the first final design of this project will happen in 2027. So I was really excited to be part of these two projects and a lot more. It was really interesting to watch the meadows change throughout the summer. Was also really passionate about restoring these meadows and re-wetting the landscape. Cattle grazing was one of the major causes of the degradation of these watersheds and wetlands, and was really excited to see all the amazing work happening in the Sierra to restore these beautiful meadows. And in the future, I definitely want to just continue in the climate and water kind of nexus and help to re-wet our landscapes. So thank you.
This is Annika.
Hi, everybody. My name is Annika, and I did 2 terms with Sierra Nevada Alliance as my host site. Before this, I was kind of just unsure what to do and how to get into the field, so I'm really grateful for this program overall. A big part of what I did, I spent most of my time behind a computer, which I actually really liked. It's nice to choose when to go outside. And one of my major goals this term, last year I spent a lot of time working on social media, and so when I decided to do another term, I wanted to really expand the reach of our social media and our website and all that, because I feel very passionate about what SNA does, and I really feel like we need more traction online so we can really share what we're doing, understand what's going on. And so this year I was able to grow the social media presence a lot, which I'm very proud of. That was a big part of what I did. A lot of day-to-day was that, but then I also spent a lot of time with coordinating events and things like that, helping out in the background. And then I also this year, as a change from last year, I also helped with AmeriCorps program recruitment for the STAT program. So I spent a lot of time working with Becca and Nicole, trying to get new host sites and find new ways to get involved with different potential host sites. And then another thing I'm very proud of was last year I was able to help launch the Take Care of Sierra campaign. Those of you who spend time in Tahoe might be familiar with Take Care of Tahoe. And last year I kind of jumped in and helped launch the campaign to spread it across the whole mountain range. It's a sustainable recreation campaign to really try to meet people where they are and make them feel comfortable in taking care of these places, so that they don't feel intimidated or belittled in any way. So I'm really passionate about responsible recreation, and it's really cool work on that. And then kind of one of the other big highlights of my term was part of Take Care Sierra a little bit was working to try to expand Latino Conservation Week across the region. This is the first year we're doing it, so it's been a little bit of a struggle to get a lot of traction with this. But SNA is hosting 2 events next weekend, and then helping. I helped write a grant to get a little mini grant for this whole event, and we're sharing that with 2 other organizations, so we can hopefully try to grow the effort across the region and that it snowballs and does better in the coming years. But yeah, it's been really cool to learn a lot. I really I didn't realize how passionate I was about responsible, sustainable recreation until I got into this. So it's been work with that. Very grateful for everything that I got to do and all the people I got to meet.
Next we have Elena.
Hi, I'm Elena. I was the stewardship technician with Sequoia River Lands Trust, which is in Visalia in the Central Valley. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I have a bachelor's in computer science, so this was definitely really new to me. This was my first time living in California, and yeah, so it was like totally new stuff. And so I wanted to talk about first, like some of the restoration and mitigation projects that were like the most significant that I did. So the first one was Wachumna ditch mitigation. And this was at our Kalia Oaks Preserve, which is a little bit like on the outskirts of Visalia, and it's pretty big within the community. And this was just basically a mitigation site where we wanted to mitigate the effects of oak tree removals. So we planted 30 new oaks, some from acorns and some from like young saplings, along with a bunch of other native plant species. And alongside that project, we installed, monitored, and maintained irrigation. This was because in the summer it gets super hot and like there's not a lot of rain. So we wanted to give these guys a fighting chance, and they've definitely taken off. We've seen so much progress amongst all of them, really. Pretty much all of the oaks have survived. So it's really encouraging, great to see that. The other one was our Deep Creek Partners project, and this was actually phase 2 of this project. And this was also at Kalia Oaks Preserve, and it was it's a bigger area of land than the Wachumna ditch mitigation site, but it was basically just also planting oaks and native plant species and a bunch of invasive species removal. Which took up a lot of our days, but it was so worth it seeing like the difference that it makes on the land. Some event highlights. SRT does a Lewis Hill Wildflower Walk, which is super amazing, super beautiful. Awesome to see the countryside kind of just burst with color. We had a vernal pool party. It was a really cool opportunity to see the vernal pools. That doesn't happen all the time. They're pretty rare. So being a part of that and yeah, just being out there was really great. We also had a visit to the Carrizo Plains. That's a picture of another endangered giant kangaroo rat with a really long tail. They're super cute, really cool. We also had Breakfast on the Bluff, Outside Pride, and Go Native. So there were a lot of really cool, amazing events that I got to be a part of, and a lot of cool people to meet through those events. And we also had stewardship and nursery volunteer days and plant sales. And these were all kind of community events that I felt really like blessed to be a part of, and a lot of connections were made there, and it was really cool to see the talent of our vendors at the plant sales. And I spent a significant amount of time at our native plant nursery. We actually get all of our plants like that we plant on the preserves from grow them ourselves at our nursery, which is really cool to grow them from seed and just to see them thrive and just be there with them from the start. We had a pretty significant transformation of our greenhouse. They're kind of can't really see the comparison pictures on the bottom, but we installed shelving and really got that going in the spring, and a bunch of new things. We got a bunch of new plants in our nursery due to the greenhouse because of the work that we did with that. So That was really great to be a part of that. For next steps, I would love to get my master's in environmental science. I definitely want to stay in this field. I feel such a sense of fulfillment and pride and accomplishment seeing what I've done. And I think I'm going to head back to the East Coast to be a little bit closer to my family, but I definitely want to stay in this field, and this has been just really awesome, great experience.
Last up, we have Abby.
Hi, I'm Abby, and I'm the River Monitoring Southeast River Citizen League. As the River Coordinator, I get to work with 40 to 50 volunteers each month for 9 months of the year, go out and collect water quality data all throughout the watershed at 37 different sites. It's been amazing getting to talk to them and learn about their lives and see their love for the river. Along with that, I got to recruit some new volunteers for the program, train them in an orientation setting, and then also in the field, showing them how to collect the data and be accurate with that. And along with that, I got to help write a grant and just help with data analysis, entry, and maintain equipment throughout the entire program. Aside from the river monitoring program, I got to monitor a big restoration project, the Van Norden Meadow Restoration Project. This project is almost 500 acres, and we began the phase 2 of the restoration this summer. The role I had was hydrology monitoring, collecting groundwater, stream flow, and water data throughout the meadow. And this project has goals of enhancing the ecological and hydraulic function, improving water quality, and carbon storage, along with many other amazing impacts, which was really inspiring to be a part of and walk through and see. Along with that, I got to help with some education programs with high schoolers, and the first one was the high school water quality project, where I worked with a few different local high schools. Got to go out to the river and collect water quality data with them, teach them about what watershed is, about their watershed, different threats to their watershed, and get them thinking about what they can do to protect it. And then the YOLO program, which is Youth Outdoor Learning Opportunity, got to go into the meadow and collect and put up fencing around groundwater wells to protect them from cattle grazing, and then also had them collect data and learn about groundwater. And similarly, with Earthwatch Girls and Science Expeditions, I got to work with some high schoolers walking through Van Norden Meadow, collecting groundwater data, and they were super inspiring and had amazing goals, and it was really amazing to connect with them. So I'm really grateful for my time at Circle. It's been an amazing place to be and an amazing community to be a part of, and I'm grateful too.
Okay, wonderful. Well, that wraps it